But first, a pen and a phone. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, they say that when you're in quicksand, the worst thing you can do is flail about. That's terrifying. And this same ugly fate is befalling today's Democrat Party.
We have to be able to have the stomach to stand up to this would-be dictator that is running roughshod all over our government right now through Elon Musk.
Y'all know he likes to pal around with Putin, right? He's trying to turn us into Russia. But I got news for him. We, the people, will not go.
All right, instead of calmly examining their own political troubles, then making the necessary tweaks or adjustments, Democrats are just dispatching their most radical players to make the same failed points that didn't work in 2024. But now, instead of just Trump being an evil despot, well, Elon Musk is one too.
Every time you hear DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, you just remember it is the Department of Government Evil. This will be a congressional fight, a constitutional fight, a legal fight, and on days like this, a street fight. We've got to meet the wickedness where it is. Leave federal employees alone.
Oh, threatening fights in the street, are they? Okay. Well, only in the insane liberal clown posse world would volunteering to save taxpayers billions of dollars, which is what Musk is doing, could in any way be considered wicked. But Democrats feel that they found their footing, with Vox proclaiming that their anti-Trump resistance may finally be waking up, focused on Musk's methodical and swift disemboweling of federal bureaucracy. Leah Greenberg, a top progressive organizer, has said, if you don't create friction, then the American people don't understand exactly how bad and how dangerous this is. Ooh. Now, you can expect weeks of AstroTurf activists showing up to protect the corruptocrats who are burrowed into every agency of our government.
Your fight, my fight, our fight, and we will win this fight. Are you ready to say no to Elon Musk?
Are we going to fight? Are we going to win? Is this our country?
Shrieking for big government. Well, today it was the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which gets its funding via the Federal Reserve. Now, to give you a sense of how partisan that place has become, in December, its chief rushed to file several lawsuits against the payment platform Zelle, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo, alleging this amorphous failure to protect consumers is ridiculous. And it amounts to another shakedown of business by anti-capitalist crusaders. That's all it is. Now, think of it this way. The same Democrats who caused inflation to skyrocket and who hid Biden's decline, they now want you to think that they care about protecting your bottom line. And as for their sudden concern with the use of executive orders to get things done, they're all worried about that. Now, I don't recall they had any problem when their hero, Barack Obama, flexed his Article 2 powers.
We are not just going to be waiting for legislation in order to make sure that we're providing Americans the kind of help that they need. I've got a pen and I've got a phone, and I can use that pen to sign executive orders and take executive actions and administrative actions that move the ball forward.
I got a pen, I got a phone. Well, the press and Democrats loved it, right? Because that was quintessential Obama cool under pressure. And of course, Democrats cheered when Joe Biden used executive orders to wipe away billions in student loan debt. Courts ultimately stepped in to hobble the Biden moves. But Warren and Schumer, remember, they didn't care at all. Back then, they were not only not complaining about the executive orders, they pushed Biden to issue them. And she even put out a press release about it. So Trump right now is just following precedent. He's doing exactly what the Democrats supported for years.
We're actually getting rid of a few programs that are just a waste, just really a waste.
Now, liberals are up in arms when Trump uses his own executive authority after campaigning and winning on a platform to cut government waste. It's hypocrisy, and it's a hyperbole alert.
What we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis.
This is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced, certainly since Watergate. The president is attempting to seize control of power and for corrupt purposes. This is a red alert moment when this entire country has to understand that our democracy is at risk.
Now, imagine having that guy, Chris Murphy, as your senator. It's my home state my old home state of Connecticut. It breaks my heart. So your state is sinking. It's bleeding manufacturing jobs due to high taxes in Connecticut and a terrible anti-business climate. And Murphy's answer to all of that is Trump's a threat to democracy. Yeah, it's just a propaganda loop. And we've heard it for years. Washington Post columnist E.J. Dionne is laying it on thick, describing Trump with the A word, authoritarian. Do they have amnesia? Do they not recall what happened last time they went down this road?
Trump won't hold autocrats accountable because he wants to be an autocrat himself.
Not only did he win the election.
Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House.
But, of course, he's more popular than ever. And instead of demanding answers from the irresponsible bureaucrats, what the Democrats do and their media friends is they hassle those who are bringing the waste to light.
Now that we start to find out some of the programs that AID has been funding, if you think about it, sex change operations in Guatemala, LGBTQ programs in Serbia,
the U.S.
this is
government
ridiculous.
does not
This
fund
is so beyond
sex
the pale.
change operations or fund Hamas. You know that, though. But you sit on...
That is not true, Margaret. I couldn't get the Secretary of State. I asked him 3 times to tell me that we were not funding Hamas through AID. He couldn't do it.
Are these anchors supposed to care about facts at all? Haggerty schooled CBS. Yeah, that's the headline there. Why weren't there investigative teams at CBS, at NBC, ABC, all the networks? Why weren't they uncovering the waste that Musk has found? Aren't there things called FOIA requests? Don't they care? And don't Democrats also want to be known as good stewards of the taxpayer money? Or do they think they can grow their base, improve their appeal to young and minority voters by being the protectors of the bureaucracy, of DEI, of climate change giveaways? That's going to grow your party? Look, no one seriously thinks Trump and Musk are trying to tear down democracy. No one. But most Americans sure want them to tear down the bureaucracy. And the more evidence of waste that Musk and his team uncovered, the more powerful the argument for a major downsizing of federal spending. And this is what Democrats and their media poodles truly fear. They fear an informed electorate, the curtain pulled back, and the corruption exposed. And that's the angle.
1 in 5 Democrats say Trump's doing a good job. Even Democrats hate paper straws.
We're going back to plastic straws. These things don't work. I've had them many times, and on occasion they break, they explode. If something's hot, they don't last very long, like a matter of minutes, sometimes a matter of seconds. It's a ridiculous situation. So we're going back to plastic straws. I think it's okay. And I don't think that plastic's going to affect a shark very much as they're munching their way through the ocean.
Real men should never use straws, so it doesn't affect prime time. And Trump says Hamas has a deadline. Listen.
If all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out.
You say all hell is going to break loose. Are you speaking about retaliation from
You'll
Israel?
find out.
Okay.
And they'll find out, too. Hamas will find out what I mean.
Voters know what the press doesn't. Trump isn't radical. He's just radically changing our country back to normal. No guys and girls sports, cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, deporting migrants and securing the border. All common sense moves. But saboteurs inside the federal government are leaking ICE raid calendars. Pam Bondi says if you get in the way, you're going down.
If anyone leaks anything, people don't understand that jeopardizes the lives of our great men and women in law enforcement. And if you leaked it, we will find out who you are and we will come after you.
While Bondi smokes out moles, the president's pinching pennies. For far too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. I have instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time. Wishing wells and fountains hardest hit. Trump has options that other presidents never considered. The federal government has thousands of properties in our real estate portfolio that aren't being used, and millions of acres of federal land. Trump could sell this property off for trillions and trim down the debt. But first, we need to stop the bleeding.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy. It's a big scam. Now, there's some good money, and we can do that through any one of a number. I think I'd rather give it to Marco Rubio over at the State Department. Let him take care of the few good ones. So I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Trump deputized Elon to hunt down pork fraud and corruption in every dark nook and cranny of the federal government.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I campaigned on this, Brett.
It's easy finding fraud. You just close your wallet and see who cries the loudest.
How U.S. aid got to the top of the DOGE list, I think, is one of the most interesting aspects of this story. So if you remember, on January 21st, Trump decided he would do a bunch of executive orders, right? And one of them was to pause foreign aid for 90 days. Okay, a couple of days later, the White House said, hey, this U.S. aid leadership is trying to circumvent the executive order. In other words, they're just going to keep paying people even though the executive order came out. That alerted the DOGE team.
FEMA spent $59 million in New York to feed and house Biden migrants. Remember how illegals were staying here at swanky hotels and throwing out the free food? Probably would have been better spent on hurricane or wildfire victims. Instead, Biden funneled the money to Midtown hotel owners. Those hotels booked up full for a whole year. Then no one could get a hotel room in the whole city, and other hotels jacked their prices up. And the government wasted $100 grand studying snapping. Ready? Scientists concluded this, quote, varying degrees of friction between the fingers alters the elastic performance of a snap. Thank you. DOGE is ending a $2 million military program that forced soldiers to talk to cartoons. Not just any cartoons, DEI cartoons. And Primetime's working to get that video for you. It's over. Common sense is shining down in America, and Democrats can't take the heat. Not too long ago, they thought shrinking the government was a great idea.
With changes in technology, the ability to evolve to government as a service, as a libertarian, I think we can reduce employment in government by at least a third, reduce the overhead and administration by that much or more, so that we can offer more to services for our citizens.
But now that Trump's making cuts, Democrats are defending waste, fraud, and abuse. The deeper they dig, the worse they look. DOGE pulled back the curtain, and now there's no going back. While most of the country makes an honest living, pays a lot of taxes, government vampires are bleeding us dry, making six figures from corrupt government subsidies to fluff up their resumes. The jig's up, and the country's rejoicing.
Over the weekend, as the Dems were melting down like Pelosi's face on a hot day, Trump speaks to Putin, makes plans for Iran, and announces that he's the new chairman of the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. The Kennedy Center is funded by us, of course, and as usual, has become a bastion of left-wing causes, including drag queen shows for kids. It's like MSNBC opened up a theater where Sam Brinton and Admiral Levine had boxed seats. Trump even signed an EO designating February 9th as Gulf of America Day. What do you make of that? Definitely not a sombrero. He even got rid of the penny. Now I'll have to give the homeless Canadian pennies. So it's no wonder the left is more off balance than Kamala leaving happy hour. And watching them try to figure it out reminds me of watching Joe try to put on his jacket on a windy day. Trump signed more EOs in 10 days than any predecessor did in their first 100, and the media is flailing. The Washington Post published this scary headline, Trump's second term is all about curtailing government's power and reach. As if that's what he wasn't elected to do. And by calling it out, they just admitted that he's no fascist. But they're even too stupid to realize that. Brilliant men like me have to point it out to them. Oh, thank you. You agree. Sometimes I have to point it out myself. I mean, what fascists ever sought to shrink government? Did Hitler, Mussolini, etc.? They expand, never shrink. Truth is, as one side of government tries to expose waste, fraud, and abuse, the other side is the waste and fraud itself. No wonder they view Doge as an act of terror. So ask yourself, which side is more useful? The one which is stuck in an era they just can't get out of? Or the other one? No one in the media or the left can comprehend the USAID scandal because they never had to. They never had to be efficient or make a profit or prevent loss. They think they're scoring points by defending the funding of Politico while hurricane victims get kicked out of hotels. The Dems today are living in a worldview so narrow, they can't imagine anything beyond identity. They're like a junkie who can't see the life beyond junk, beyond the comfort of the moral high ground they've gifted themselves. But the rest of us get it, which is why the crowd went nuts for Trump and not Swift. Maybe she should write a breakup song about that. Welcome! Tonight's guest. He's got many gifts, like talent, wisdom, and that leather thong I sent him. Host of The Guy Benson Show, Guy Benson. His comedy special went to #1 at Gitmo. Comedian, host of the Jim Norton Can't Save You podcast, Jim Norton. She's way past due, meaning more cat for you. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor, Ketchup. And finally, the National Weather Service names his sneezes. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion, Guy, if I may call you that. What's up, Guy?
I am wearing it per your request.
Oh, I thank you. All right. What a difference 4 years, 8 years makes. I mean, they're cheering him. It is kind of surprising that this is the first time a president has been to a Super Bowl.
I feel like if I were president, that would be my #1 thing. I'd say, all right, the campaign was awful. People hate me. There are threats against me. Damn it, I'm going to a Super Bowl. And no one had done it before this guy. And I was not sure he would get that reception, honestly, because people were saying, well, he was cheered at his previous football game appearances. I'm like, yeah, well, that was in Alabama and at the Army-Navy game. So this one was a tougher test because you had at least half the crowd as Philadelphia fans, and they boo everything.
Right.
They booed Santa Claus. That's a real thing that they did. And they're all actually criminals and should be deported to Gitmo, but that's a separate story.
I don't think you'll get any disagreement here.
Yeah, well, there was one guy I saw in an Eagles thing in the crowd, and he's been asked to leave already.
Oh, that was
at my request. But I do think that that was a moment where it's like, okay, things have changed. They said we can never normalize Donald Trump, and the most normal thing ever is a president being cheered at the biggest American event of the year, and it's Donald Trump. So that whole push is dead. It has failed.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, Jim, if I may call you that?
I like it, but spell it G-Y-M.
Because a lot of men love to work out in you. I don't know. Maybe that joke was always back there waiting to come out.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what's interesting, though? It's like, if you look at what Guy just said, there's something distinctly American about Trump that we all suddenly kind of realized. Like, the Super Bowl is big and loud, so is he. And it's kind of like everybody's, I think, come to the conclusion that, you know what? He's about as American a president you're going to ever find. A host of a reality show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's willing just to say who he likes in the game.
Yeah.
Like there's something very basic about a guy who is willing just to go, I like Patrick Mahomes, he likes me. So I hope they win. You know, I like them a lot better. Like there's just something. First of all, I think he only got those tickets because he's president. I tried to get tickets, they were sold out. And all of a sudden, he gets them, so it's all bullshit. But the fact that he's the sitting president of the United States, and he trolled Taylor Swift. Like, there's something very relatable about that. Like, that's exactly what I would do if somebody trashed me publicly and I got cheered and they didn't. I'd go,
Yes.
But I'm not the president of the United States.
But he's us.
He does,
He may not be the president, but he is you. So he doesn't forget that she endorsed Kamala and then made a big stink about it, and now he goes, he is us.
Which I don't know if that's good or not. When I think of myself, I'm like, do I really want me running the country? You know, there'd be a major crisis, and I'm looking at porn at 2:00 in the morning.
Kat,
yes.
Did Taylor Swift deserve this?
No. Okay, here's the thing. Plenty more people than just teenage girls like Taylor Swift. She's extremely popular. No, she's extremely popular. It is funny that she got booed. I mean, I think that's just objectively true that it's funny. But I don't think it had to do with politics as much as people are so sick of the Chiefs.
Yeah.
People are so sick of the Chiefs. Chiefs fans are even sick of the Chiefs, which is... I don't think there were that many of them there. I think they were like, we're tired of being in the Super Bowl. So I think that had more to do with it than politics.
They were sick of her as well.
Well, but didn't she ask to not be on camera anymore? I think she might be a little sick of herself at this point.
But you know when somebody asks not to be on camera, that's even a humble brag.
You can't relate to that at all.
I always say, no pictures, no pictures. They know that. They'll know I'll throw them out.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I wish I were, because I wish I could feel the things I see the people feeling when they see her. They get so excited.
Adults who are Taylor Swift fans
There's so many.
Are like adults who go to Disneyland.
No. Adults, there's something deeply wrong with adults who don't go to Disney without kids.
Yeah.
That I do not stand behind that.
You know, the worst ones are the people that go there without kids and then leave with kids.
No argument there, Greg. Great call, very astute.
Tyrus, did you find the Super Bowl a different kind of tone or mood than normal?
The entire week was different. Okay. First of all, I found out that I'm a celebrity. And the worst time to ever be a celebrity. Because no one gives anymore if you're a celebrity.
Yes.
The only people who really cared was Fox, look at the celebrities at our game, and America was like, move, the little Kevin Hart's in the way of the field. They don't care. America's back. America's the celebrity. When you see the soldiers, you cheer. When you see police officers, you go, thank you for still being here. It's a completely different vibe, and everyone is kind of walking around like they walked out of the house naked, and the neighbor said, nice job, looking good, man. You've been working out? Because no one's afraid to speak their mind anymore. Listen, I've been a black conservative forever, and there was a good stretch where I was Uncle Tom, couldn't be on TV, nothing, this, that, whatever, and if I did see another brother, he was like, hey, good job, but don't say hi to me. They were coming out the woodworks literally. Lawrence Taylor, Marcus, all these NFL legends. Tyrus, oh my God, I watch Flavor Flav screaming at the red carpet. Tyrus, I watch you every night. I love you. I love the Gutfeld show. How's Kat? Is she having the baby? And I'm supposed to be interviewing him. And I was just like, here, take the mic. Anything else you want to know? Can I get on the show? And I was just like, man, I said, where the hell have y'all been? And they said, look, you ran through the woods for us. And yes, you got banged up and scratched up or whatever, but Trump cut the trees down, and when you look around, we're all here. And I'm like, that's not better. So, but it's true.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Also, during the game, there was a pick six.
Yes, there was.
It was the first time that I saw one, and I knew what it was.
Yes.
Good for you, Kat.
But,
Good
you know,
for you.
just advice to Taylor, shake it off.
Yeah.
Hey, Kat, did you ever think growing up that Flavor Flav would one day inquire about your pregnancy?
I'd always hoped.
I think if it would have been, if I were reported back, Dennis Rodman asked about the baby, then it would have been probably
I would have fainted.
baby.
I would have fainted. Yeah, the
probably
baby would have
baby.
come out and I would have fainted.
All right, we must move on. Up next, a guard did his job keeping out a lefty mob.